So, in my last two videos, I played through LEGO DC Supervillains and LEGO Batman 3, and failed both of those challenges. So, before I move on to the Marvel games, I decided to listen to you guys and try a challenge on LEGO Batman 2, and see if third time really is the charm. So, can you beat LEGO Batman 2 with only supervillains? Let's find out.
Round 1.
In level 1, the Joker crashes the Man of the Year award ceremony, and obviously, I'm gonna have to stop him. In previous videos, I've started off the challenge with iconic villains or heroes. However, this time I thought I'd switch it up and use everyone's favourite Australian, Captain Boomerang. Anyway, let's get into the level, which actually starts off pretty easy, with me having to beat up a bunch of Joker goons, then build some stairs to go up on stage and encounter Harley Quinn. On stage, she flips around onto different podiums, where you have to use projectiles to damage her. Conveniently, I was using Captain Boomerang, and well, he throws boomerangs, so I defeated her with ease, and moved on to the next section of the level. In this section, you're under the stage where all the band and stuff is. What you're meant to do is hit the Riddler, who is hiding under a big tuba. However, I'm a little slow, so that took me a while to figure out. Anyway, once you hit the Riddler enough times, you're on to the next part. In this part, there's a camera which causes a door to close whenever you get near it. What you're meant to do to get past is use Batman's detective suit. However, for obvious reasons, I can't use that. So, instead, at first, I tried using characters that I thought would be stealthy to tiptoe past, but that didn't work. So in the end, I used Bane's jump slam to destroy the button that was keeping the door I was trying to get through closed. This worked because his damage radius for the slam jump goes through walls. Anyway, after getting past the security camera section, I was faced with my first challenge, which was totally unexpected. The first issue was that I needed to use a grappling hook to pull the door open. And at first, I didn't worry, because in previous games, loads of people had grappling hooks. Like for example, the Joker. However, in this game, the only people with grappling hooks are Batman, Robin, and other members of the Bat family. And unfortunately for me, they are all heroes. So, then I went online and looked up if there was any glitches to get past these doors. And for once in a LEGO game, I found absolutely nothing. So, I gave the wiki of the game one last look to see if I missed anybody with the grapple ability. But then I noticed something. It said Deathstroke had the grapple ability, but when I checked the game roster, he was nowhere to be seen. It turns out Deathstroke is a character only available on the Nintendo 3DS version of the game. So what did I do? I spent like 4 hours modding him into the game. And I know this may seem like cheating, but hear me out. He technically is in the LEGO Batman 2 game, just not my version of the game. So me modding him would be the same as me going and buying a 3DS from the store and completing the challenge on that. So that is how I ended up using Deathstroke to open those doors and continue in progressing the level. Next, I encountered something much easier, which was an X-ray vision wall, which the Riddler was hiding behind. This was no problem, since General Zod mirrors all of the powers of Superman. So I used him for his X-ray vision and looked through the wall to defeat the Riddler. After defeating the Riddler, you take an elevator up to the second part of the level, a battle in the casino against Two-Face. Normally to beat Two-Face, you would have to use Batman and Robin, but since I was unable to do that, I had to use a glitch to skip past him onto the final section of the level. Yes! Fuck yes! Oh my god, that took me so long. In this final section of the level, you have to damage Joker multiple times. Then you have to use X-ray vision to launch him through the wall on a film camera and complete the mission. Hey guys, just want to quickly say a big thank you for all the support recently, and I'm also super sorry that this video took longer than normal to get out. I've just been busy with school and things. So as a thank you and an apology, and also because this is my last DC video for a while, I will be leaving Steam codes for each of the games I've played hidden in this video. So you can try these challenges for yourself, or just enjoy the games. So the LEGO Batman 2 codes will be white, the LEGO DC Supervillains code will be green, and the LEGO Batman 3 code will be yellow. Anyways, here's the first code, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Level 2 has you outside the award ceremony, trying to repair Robin's helicopter, so you can head after the Joker who is escaping by boat. In order to fix Robin's helicopter, you have 3 tasks to do. The first is super simple, because as soon as you spawn in, the blocks to build the windshield are right in front of you, so that's the first thing I did. The next 2 pieces are located on the roof, which in order to get up to, normally requires Robin's magnet suit. However, I couldn't do that, so I took the easy way and flew up. I located the next piece on the roof, but ran into a roadblock. which was, in order to get the pieces, it required the use of magnetism, which at the time I thought only Robin had access to. However, as you have all probably figured out by now, I'm an idiot and shouldn't be allowed near video games. So after doing a quick check online, I discovered that Brainiac had magnetic powers. So I used those to get the second piece, and then flew up even higher on the roof to use Brainiac's super strength to gain access to the third and final pieces. After gathering all the pieces, I built them and was immediately taken to the next part of the level, which was a chase with the Joker and the Batwing. Now, I know it says I'm playing Batman in the top left, but I'm really using the Batwing, which doesn't count as a failure, because, well, it's an inanimate object. So, after chasing the Joker around, shooting and damaging him, he finally crashes just outside an amusement park. And in order to defeat him, you have to build a bunch of things to blow up his boat. The first thing you have to build requires you to blow up silver bricks in order to access the bricks you have to build with. And luckily, the Penguin has little penguin bombs, which allow me to blow it up and get the bricks, which I used to build a cannon, which I launched at the Joker to remove his first health point. Next, using Brainiac, I flew to the top of the amusement park gate, then used his magnetic powers to drop a massive swinging pendulum on the Joker's head. After that, the Joker spawns in some kind of mini tank thing, which had silver bricks, which I was meant to destroy. But luckily, the tank's own missiles did that for me, and after that, I once again used Brainiac's magnetic powers to reveal more silver bricks, which this time I did destroy with the Penguin. Then using the bricks from the tank, I built a big ass hammer and used Bane's super strength to drop it on the Joker's head and complete the level. Level complete, I'm the GOAT! So, level 3 has you inside Arkham Asylum trying to stop the villains who are broken out. The first villain is Catwoman, who was trying to pull a fucking drive-by on you. Now I'll be honest, I fully scuffed this level because at first I thought you just had to complete the maze that I was trapped in. So this level took like 20 minutes when it should have taken like 3. However, once I figured out what I was meant to do, it went by in a flash. So, in order to defeat Catwoman, I had to climb up on a ledge with the Penguin and use his explosives to knock down a statue and block Catwoman's path. Once I did that, Catwoman crashed and the next villain came out. The next villain was Two-Face in his truck. However, he crashed immediately because, as I mentioned before, I had fully scuffed the level by doing things in the wrong order. Anyway, after Two-Face crashed, it was on to the last villain, Bane and his mole machine. In order to stop him, it was pretty simple. I had to use the Penguin to blow up some silver bricks, which was covering some water pipes, and then froze the water coming out of those pipes to make a wall that Bane would eventually crash into and allow me to complete the level. Level 4 is actually my favorite LEGO Batman level of all time, so I very much enjoyed this mission. Anyway, this mission starts you off inside Arkham Asylum once again trying to stop even more people from breaking out. I start off the level by putting out flames blocking my path with Mr. Freeze. Then in order to progress the level normally, there is these electric panels that you have to use in order to stop the electricity from blocking your path going forward. So I did what I think most people would do and switched to Black Adam, the guy whose whole shtick is controlling lightning and electricity, and well, it turns out he can't use electricity panels or even walk through electricity. So he's basically just completely useless. Anyway, at the time I didn't realize that Joker could use these panels, so I decided that I was just going to fly past the parts I couldn't do in the level. So, after flying past loads of puzzles, I landed on a platform and pulled a lever, which froze a waterfall that I was able to climb up. After that, I beat up some guys, and then I attempted to freeze some water with Mr. Freeze, but I couldn't, so I just flew ahead and ended up at Mr. Freeze's cell, where I realized the Joker could actually use electricity panels, so I used him to activate an elevator and go to the next part of the level. The next part of the level has you chasing after the Scarecrow, and in this first room you're meant to do some stuff with Robin and Batman to get past the poisonous gas blocking the exit, and for obvious reasons I couldn't do that, so I just flew over the gas with Brainiac. After that, I ran through this cool ass X-ray section. Then I did an X-ray section with General Zod, which opened up a bridge to help me get across the Scarecrow, which for some reason I decided to fly over, so I don't even know why I did the puzzle in the first place. But oh well. Then I pulled a lever which opened up another bridge, which led into an area where Scarecrow sent a bunch of men to beat me up. After beating them up instead, there was another General Zod puzzle, which once I did allowed me to chase Scarecrow to the final boss fight of the level, which involved beating up a bunch of goons while Scarecrow makes you microdose fucking fentanyl. Anyways, after beating up the goons for a while, 2 levers activate, which once pulled allow you to go land the final punches of Scarecrow and complete the level. Level 5 is going to Ace Chemicals. I started the level by going underwater and pulling a lever with Killer Croc. This lever makes a chemical vat appear, which unfortunately can only be used by Batman and Robin. What's even more unfortunate is there's 5 chemical vats that you have to activate in order to complete this level. Luckily, I knew of a glitch that skips this section of the level. In order to do this glitch, you have to fly to the end of this section of the level and blow open a silver brick wall with the penguin and fly up into the corner. And that will trigger the cutscene, which takes you to the next part of the level. This part of the level had me walk through some spilled acid with the Joker, then use Killer Croc's super strength to open a door. And then I did some parkour with Catwoman and used Penguin's glide ability to get across to the next rooftop. After walking for a while and beating up some goons, I had to do some more parkour and then used the Joker on an electric panel to open a door. And then I flew over some chemicals and used the Joker once again on an electric panel in order to bring a metal crate closer that took me to the next section of the level. The next section was really easy since I had no choice but to fly past everything and then use the Joker to call an elevator, which would take me to the final part of the level. Final part of the level was even easier because all I had to do was fly across the rooftop I was on and use the penguin to blow up a massive water tower, which triggered the end cutscene, which allowed me to complete the level. Level 6 starts you off in the Batmobile, chasing down Lex Luthor's armored transport. Once you've destroyed all of the turrets, the chase ends and you board the armored transport. The first thing I had to do was use Brainiac's magnetic powers to drag a ball to the opposite end of the car. Doing this activated more magnetic panels, which I walked up with Brainiac. Once I walked up to the second floor, I flew past the security camera to access the roof of the vehicle. On the roof, I got attacked by 2 guys in jetpacks, which I used Captain Boomerang to defeat, and then I used Man-Bat's Echo ability to shatter some glowing glass, which then allowed me to use Brainiac's powers again to destroy a satellite, and then build this radio thingy, which called in the Batwing. The Batwing then proceeded to blow a hole in the front of the transport, which allowed me to enter the final part of this short level. In this final part, I had to destroy 3 panels in order to capture the kryptonite Lex Luthor was protecting. The first one was hidden behind a door that I had to open by simply pulling a lever. The next one was also hidden behind a door controlled by a lever. However, in order to get to this one, I had to use Deathstroke to grapple up, and then use Man-Bat to break some glowing glass which was protecting the lever. Once I pulled the lever, the panel came out and I destroyed it. The last panel was behind a door that I had to use Brainiac's magnetic powers to open. Once I opened the door, I destroyed the panel and beat the level. Level 7 involves the Joker and Lex Luthor breaking into and attacking the Batcave. In order to stop them in the first stage of the level, you have to use the Bat vehicles which are scattered around. The first of which is the Bat Bike. After using the Bat Bike to get rid of their first health point, I flew over to the Batwing and got rid of the second and third health point. Finally, I flew over to the opposite side of the cave and jumped on some water pumps so I could activate and use the Batboat, which allowed me to damage Lex and the Joker for a final time.
Huh?
The next part of the level has you escaping a rising fire. So firstly, I used Black Manta's laser eyes to open a gold wall, and then behind that wall was a place to grapple upwards, which I used Deathstroke on. After that, I climbed even further upwards on a Lego rock wall. Then there was this weird section where I wasn't sure what to do, so I ended up just skipping loads of it by flying upwards and forward. At the top, I had to use a penguin to blow up a wall, which then revealed an X-ray vision panel, which I completed with General's Lock. Once I completed it, the wall came down and I walked forward. And then whatever the fuck this has happened. Anyway, after getting past whatever that was, there was this T-Rex, which I think I was meant to do something with. However, it required me to use an ability which only Robin had access to, so I just flew past it. But then, I had a major scare of this challenge, which was, there was these rocks made of silver bricks blocking the exit to the Batcave, which normally once destroyed would allow me to beat the level. However, the only explosive of the game that can be launched upwards are the ones that Batman has access to. So, after panicking for a bit, I used one of my 3 brain cells and realized I could launch Penguin's Bob upwards on the fans that you're meant to use to fly out. So, after many failed attempts, I finally did it and escaped the Batcave, which meant level 7 was complete. So, level 8 started off in a flight section, which wouldn't have been an issue if the game didn't insist on spawning you in a Superman. Luckily, the other character I had access to was Robin's helicopter, so it allowed me to go about the level as normal. destroying different helicopters and blowing up different parts of Lex Luthor's ship. It was all going swimmingly until I realized there was gold bricks she had to destroy. And that's when it clicked in my head that the game wanted me to use Superman's laser eyes to destroy the gold bricks. So, unfortunately, I was having no luck finding any glitches and hopelessly shooting at the gold bricks for 5 minutes. I came to the conclusion that LEGO Batman 2 cannot be beaten with only supervillains. So, third time is definitely not the charm, and it turns out you can't beat LEGO Batman 2 without Superman, which is kinda ironic if you think about it. It really pisses me off how abruptly this run ended. Anyways, it's disappointing that I couldn't beat any of the DC games with the challenges I set. However, I'm feeling way more optimistic for the Marvel games, so make sure to subscribe and turn notifications on so you don't miss those videos. And now, if you stuck around after that shameless plug, I just want to say a huge thank you for all your support, and also say sorry this video took so long to come out. That's also why it may seem a little rushed. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. Now enjoy these Steam codes.